Hello, my fellow pipe sippers. This video will not be a tobacco review. Though I will at least certainly share that I am sipping on some From Beyond, which is just great stuff. I have reviewed this one. And this is in an old Willard that I've restored a while back. Such a good blend. But I wanted this video to be a bit of a preface to others, I guess, to come. I don't know, to what this channel is in part about, as it is a channel that is titled Pipe Sipping Mason, and there will be some discussions here and there, I think, or I plan for there to be discussions about Freemasonry here and there. There was actually some comment or question in the comment section from one Jamie Current about, like, how does one get into Freemasonry? They found themselves to be a deep thinker, and so I put it in the comment section. I mean, I'm sure many of you see the bumper sticker here and there that will say ask one to be one, playing around with the numeric 1, numeric 2. So for some dark conspiracy theory fraternity that's elbow deep in secrecy, sounds like it's a pretty easy fraternity to get into. Because it is, and it isn't. Obviously, there is just an endless amount of ridiculous things on the internet that are speaking disparagingly, and put Freemasonry in a negative light. Let's be honest. I don't think there are any institutions within our society that don't have critics. Even the institution of marriage is looked upon by many as something that they want nothing of, that it locks you in and so forth. But yeah, it's, mostly to be a member, you just need to be a halfway decent person. There is a cookie cutter, it's slightly overused, but there is this little saying where it's like, we take good men and make them better, right? And that's really what it's about. And that doesn't even necessarily mean you can't have a past either. But you certainly cannot look to enter the fraternity when you are still actively acting like a phony. So that's really, you have to believe that there's some other higher power, that there's a reason for all of this. And it doesn't even have to be a certain type. I do slightly, as many of us do, chuckle when we see people like, oh, the Freemasons are anti-Semitic. Kind of hard when almost 3/4 of our symbolism comes from Judeo-Christianity, lots of allegory around King Solomon's temple and so forth. I can already feel the YouTube comment section crushing under the weight of comments that might come through for this one. Oh, well. So I've mentioned this before. There's a there's a charge that's given in many different lodges. Almost all of them, I think, have a closing charge, and some an opening. Now, again, anybody who has not seen any previous videos of mine, I do come from New England. New England, obviously, is where we first set up camp in this great nation. Many of the people who were charged with the responsibility of creating how we were going to create this democracy and so forth were also Freemasons. Honestly, most people were. I mean, it was not something that was as elusive as it is today. Most of the time, like everybody had a Freemason in their family, if not most of the men in their family were. But yeah, so because New England, because of where I was at, was kind of had quite a lot of Masonry. The Freemasonry that's there today still runs a lot of the way that it did back when we first founded the nation. In fact, there are certain lodges called traditional order lodges, one of which I am a member of. Of course, I had to demit, well, now on the other side of the map, but which was Phoenix Lodge. So that was a traditional order lodge, one that operated much like it would have when we first skipped off the boat. And so with that, we still had an opening charge. And I think that, that opening charge says a lot about like what we do in Freemasonry, what it stands for. And the purpose for the charge was kind of to set the mood for the evening, right? To kind of remind us of why we're there. And so, and again, in my intro, I kind of do a little snippet of that piece there that I like so much. But the charge, it starts off and it states that the ways of virtue are beautiful. I know, what a horrible concept. The ways of virtue are beautiful. Knowledge is obtained by degrees, and wisdom dwells with contemplation, and there we must seek her. So let us then, brethren, apply ourselves to becoming zeal to the practice of the excellent principles inculcated in our order. Let us ever remember that the great objects of our association are the restraint of improper desires and passions, the cultivation of an active benevolence, these don't sound like horrible things. Let us improve in everything that is good, amiable, and useful. To promote the happiness of others and to seek happiness ourselves. To promote a correct knowledge of the duties that we owe to God, our neighbors, and ourselves. Let all private animosities, if any unhappily exist, give place to affection and brotherly love. In the closing charge, we remind ourselves that around the altar we promise to befriend and relieve any brother who may need our assistance, and to remind ourselves that around the altar that we have promised to remind them in the most tender manner of their failings, aid in the reformation, vindicate their character if wrongfully traduced, and suggest on their behalf the most candid and favorable of circumstances. Are they justly reprehended? We encourage each other to let the world observe how Masons love one another, and that these generous principles are to extend even further, that every human being has a claim upon our kind offices, that we should do good unto all and recommend it more. Like, My friends, this isn't world domination stuff. This is just don't be an a-hole stuff. This is, if anything, in a time of age where, perhaps you aren't looking for some sort of religious dogma, but still want to fraternize and befriend others that are like-minded, who truly try to improve who they are, try to be something that's of worth to their family, of worth to their community, and to themselves, and to some higher end. Because, let's face it, if lights out, curtains drawn, and show's over, so be it. You still lived a decent life and left something halfway decent behind you of a wake, not a wake of disaster. And other side of the coin, if there is something beyond, if there is a higher power, well, then guess what? You put the eggs in the right basket. It's kind of a win-win, and we all know this. Life is miserable when you're a prick. It just is. You might think that you're enjoying yourself and things are great, but we all know that it becomes shallow and it falls apart because it's just a shell. So yeah, as I had put in the comment section for Jamie Curran, you can Google nearest Masonic Lodge near me. And then almost every site will have some sort of contact. But yeah. And then, of course, after that, you get together with the gentleman there, and most lodges have a dinner before or after their meeting that's open to the public because it's so secretive. They will be happy to give you a tour, show you what the lodge room looks like, answer any questions that you have, and they'll usually, request that you dine with them a few times. Maybe, it's not unheard of for them to, invite you out for coffee or whatever. They're going to want to get to know you as well as they want you to get to know them. And after a span of time, which isn't really defined, you can ask for a petition. Petition the lodge. Just a piece of paper that's basically, again, the basic questions. And then that petition gets read in the next stated meeting. There'll be a first signer on that petition, so generally somebody that's been in that crowd that you've been conversing with and visiting with. And then once voted in the affirmative, an investigation committee comes in. Gestapo. No, they basically just, want to make sure that, yes, you are somebody of decent character, but, let's be honest. If anybody can come in and be a member, then it would all be for naught. It would all be in vain, so. They read the petition, read the result, and then they vote on the next steps, which is the entered apprentice degree, the first step in Masonry, and then so that begins. A night is set, either on a stated evening, a stated meeting, once a month meeting, or sometimes they can just specially convene just for that degree, which often they'll do. So that's it, my friends. I just wanted to kind of give a preface and a little overview of what it really is about and how you can seek it out should you desire to. We don't solicit members because, it's your own hero's journey. It's your personal quest. Where, of all time, this day of age, that severe depletion that we have of what it means to be a person, a decent human being, as that's being boiled off, to be left with the syrupy, nasty stuff that's being left over as residue. It is very refreshing. for sure. And there's the camaraderie of it too. I'll put that out there. I mean, we have a great time together. Um, so sometimes that's nice too, because it's just once a month. But it's like once a month I can kick back with the guys, be a guy, have a good time. Um, Gets me out of the house. That is it. So, still waiting for those tobacco blends to come in for my new Peterson Christmas pipe. That's awesome. Cannot wait. And yeah, happy sipping.